everybody, we're Flock of Nerds. I'm Miles.
And I'm Catherine, and today we're going to talk about our experiences at the YouTube Nindies night at the YouTube Space in Toronto. So it was a Canadian showcase of independent game developers.
And there were producers, artists, all sorts of different people in the industry there.
Yeah, and it was specifically for games that are going to be on the, or currently are on the Nintendo Switch. So we went down to the YouTube Space, and it was a really great night. They had like drinks and snacks, and we got to talk to developers, and there were like some really cool games that we got to demo. So one of the ones that we did was by a game company called Vertex Pop, and they had two games there actually. One was called
Graceful Explosion Machine, which is their first game.
Yeah, that's one you played, so you should talk about that one.
Yeah, that one is a shmup, very colorful, very beautiful looking shmup for the Switch. And one of the things that I really loved about it was that it's on the Switch. So it's a shmup that you could just play handheld, and maybe when nobody's home you could put it on the big screen. But I think a shmup is one of the perfect games for the Switch because it reminds me of those tabletop cabinets video games that they used to have, so it doesn't feel weird playing a shmup on the Switch.
It has like really neat animations, like they were like geometric shapes that you were shooting out and stuff, and it was really, really cool to watch. The other game that we played though, that I demoed, was called Super Crushed KO. That's the only game that we tried that isn't currently released yet, and it's coming soon. And it's like a beat 'em up, right? Like
yeah,
it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Yeah, and there's some platforms, and it has a really interesting protagonist because a lot of these brawlers, beat 'em ups, you don't get to just play as a woman. Or like as a female character, like you don't get that. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I think the girl had lost her cat, or her cat was kidnapped or something, and so she's on this mission to go save her cat. And you were talking to the developer and saying that it was a lot like
John Wick.
It's like, John Wick with cats.
Who doesn't want to play a beat 'em up that's like John Wick?
It's Jane Wick. I know essentially. So, and I also was talking to developer Mo and saying like I liked the game because, you know, I get through these games just by mashing buttons. I'm pretty good at just mashing buttons really quickly and like just progressing through that way. And he gave me a little secret, and he said that he's actually not the best gamer either, and he loves to button mash, and so he kind of took that into consideration. I said, this game is so great because it kind of suits different play styles. So if you're not that great at games like me, you still enjoy it, you can still progress. I was doing okay. I think that the art is amazing, the music was great, and I'm really, really looking forward to it coming out because I think it's going to be a really well-received game.
And another game from a different studio that really caught our interest was called Lightfingers. But we'll just let you hear from the producer of the game to tell you a little bit about it. Hello, everybody, it's Flock of Nerds, and I'm here with Henry, who's the producer of Lightfingers, which is a really rad-looking game, something that's so different from what I've seen in gaming recently. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh yeah, thank you, I'd be happy to. Lightfingers is the game that thieves play after a night of thieving, okay? Imagine they got all their ill-gotten goods and they want to show off, they want to unwind, they want to blow some steam, so they go down to the pub and they play this game that's on a magical mechanical board.
With their Switches?
Yes, only on Nintendo Switch.
It reminded me so much of D&D. I was like, this looks like a game that I would love. I love D&D, and I love this kind of fantasy setting. Did you write a love letter for D&D players?
Well, it's kind of funny you should say that. It went through a lot of iterations. Hubert, or Hube as we call him, the head of the company of Numismatic, lead developer and designer, actually came and he had more of a concept than a setting initially. He knew that he wanted to work with this kind of miniature world. He knew he wanted to get really close to the board and have this like hybrid effect. But the original, what people don't know is the original setting was actually this whole Greek island thing. Okay. No kidding. And so when I got involved with the project, I was like, you know, this is cool, but like, I think we can push this a little bit further, and not just rely on things that we sort of feel safe with, right? How can we turn this into a more of a fantasy set sort of idea and scenario? So we worked with Shell Khan. She's an amazing comic book artist, illustrator, and she did the concept art. And she brought a lot of fantasy stuff in, and we said, well, we want the action of like people doing things with the board, but what if the board was sort of also like designed to help with that? It wasn't just like pieces, it was like more mechanical. So we kind of went a little bit more steampunky, right? But we were like, we don't want to be limited to just steampunk, because like it's not really just about gears and things. It's like miniature things happening. And we thought, well, what if we just combine these two ideas? And that's when we started to develop this style. And from there, it was really interesting to sort of overlay our kind of experiences on traditional tabletop board game, RPGs, and actually the entire game from that tabletop perspective was designed and paper prototyped as a board game first.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Ooh, do you think we'll ever see that board game version come out?
I mean, Hugh and I talk about this a lot. There's a lot of interest in the world and the characters, and we try to make it so people can inject as much of themselves into it as possible. But I think there's a real possibility that something like that might happen in the future.
Oh, that's rad. That's super cool. So this is a couch co-op game.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, I play a lot of couch co-op games with my partner, and it's tough. Is this a relationship ender? Is this one going to be a relationship ender?
Well, here's the thing. We are actually trying to think about that long term with some more co-op kind of modes down the pipe. Can't really talk about it, but I can say that that'll sort of, if you play that in between some of the more competitive moments, I think you're going to be okay. But because you can change the length of the game to like a really long match or like really quick ones, I find that like people play enough of them like they're eating potato chips. Even if people lose a lot or whatever.
It's more of a party game.
Yeah, it's more of a party game. Another thing is like, if there's the action sequences when you raid the dungeons, right, for treasure, the royal vaults for loot to like win the game. If you don't like that, there's opportunities, even if someone is well ahead by doing that, for stopping them on the game board in less, more accessible, less action-oriented ways. In fact, you can actually buy items and use the board in ways to steal loot from players after they've got it, so that even if you don't really want to do action stuff, there's always a chance to come back. So it really does not favor one style of player more than the other, but gives a lot of choice to how you want to do it. So I feel like, short of like, deeply rooted emotional issues you might have with your partner, I think that it'll be okay.
All I know is that I was testing your game, and I had these giant buzzsaws, and I started attacking my partner with the buzzsaws.
Yes.
And
the mileage will vary on this, right? I'm sorry.
And last question, what does it mean to get this game on a Nintendo platform, the newest Nintendo platform, the Switch?
So this is pretty exciting, obviously. Like, I run a co-working space called Gamma Space, and it's for independent game makers and digital creators. So I work with a lot of game creators from all over the city and from all different backgrounds. And what's really interesting is that even though everyone comes from games from different perspectives and we want to encourage as many people to do these things, a lot of them come from the place that Nintendo is where I played first, right? And so when you have game makers in a space that are encouraged by the opportunities of being able to work with Nintendo and get on an exciting platform like the Switch, obviously the excitement and interest goes way higher, and the desire to really excel goes there, because for a lot of people, that's where games come from, Nintendo, right? And I'm mature enough to have seen the game industry change in lots of different ways over a number of years, right? And like, I can't disagree with that. It's really exciting. And so even when Nintendo is sometimes the underdog in a generation, then they hit hard with like the Switch, it's hard not to remember where this all came from for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And if people want to pick up this game right now, can they do it? Absolutely.
It came out on my birthday. But you can get it at the Nintendo eShop right now. And what you're seeing, by the way, and what you were playing is no one's played this. It's the new content update that's coming out very soon. You'll be able to play it at PAX East coming up. If you're in Boston in the area, you'll be able to come in. We got a full booth for that, and it'll be coming out shortly after that. And it's just one of many planned updates that are free that are coming over the next several months.
Everybody loves free updates.
Everyone loves free updates.
Check out Lightfingers on the Nintendo eShop.
So we had a really great time at Nindies Night in Toronto, and we're really looking forward to any future events like this because it was just a really fun time. We want to also thank the people who took the time to talk to us. So Henry, who was a producer at Lightfinger and Gabby and Mo, who are from Vertex Pop, who talked to us about Graceful Explosion Machine, and Super Crush KO, which are both games that we're really, really looking forward to purchasing and playing.
And of course, we'd like to thank Nintendo for putting on such a stellar event, as well as YouTube and the YouTube space. All the staff, everybody there was so friendly and accommodating, and also everybody that we met, the other content creators and developers that were at the show. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk to the people who made Sword and Sorcery and Guacamelee 2. They were there as well, but it got a little crowded.
Yeah,
it's
it was
popular.
pretty busy. Yeah,
it's popular.
There were lots of people. So, yeah.
Thank you all so much for watching, and take care, everybody. Bye!